Hi there, I am Matt with K15T, and thank you so much for joining our live stream. First of all, everybody, happy Pride Month. It is wonderful to have you here in this month where we celebrate everyone being themselves. Thank you for being yourself, and thank you for showing up. Also, happy Disability Awareness Month. It's a good time. It's a good time to celebrate those people around us, those people who are us. We are all different, and here is to our differences. Thanks so much for joining everybody in the chat. Remember, I guess I should, cheers to that. Everybody in the chat, it's called the live chat for a reason. It's because it's live. It's so you can see me, do stuff live, mess stuff up live. It's fun. It's super fun. Also, please throw into the chat your questions. The whole point of this live stream is so we can all learn to do our very best together. And in order to do that, you've got to ask. Another thing that would really help me is if you'd hit that like button in YouTube. It tells the rhythms or the algos that we're doing something here. If you have a question, please use #question at the beginning of your question. That helps us notice the question in the live chat so that we can address it. So you can't leave this live stream saying, I didn't learn that thing I wanted to learn. We will try to answer your question to the best of our ability. Hi, everybody from Indianapolis. Chad, why can't I not say Indianapolis? I should be able to. Morning, Vivian. Hey, Kythera. Hey, everybody. So nice to have you joining us. As always, I'm going to mention it now. If you just cannot get enough learning about Confluence, you want to keep up on the latest Confluence news and our opinionated training that we share every week, please subscribe to the Weekly Dose of Confluence. It's our weekly Confluence email that will go right to your inbox, full of Confluence insights, news, and tips from your very opinionated and expert friends here at K15T. And we have a new friend who's joined our team, Patricia, who is writing that now, and it has been really exciting to see what Patricia has brought to the table. We will also continue to send out surveys in that to continue to enhance the content to meet your needs. So check those out. Hit the link up in the chat. Now, without further ado, we are here today to talk about the Confluence editor. And I would love to know if there's anyone here who has never used the Confluence editor. If that's the case, we're going to jump into it. If you're like, I'm here and I've been using the Confluence editor for a long time in the Confluence data center side, and we are about to upgrade to cloud, or we just upgraded to cloud. I'm seeing some I'm seeing some that have never used the editor. There's also a question in the chat about what is Bettitor. I think we're going to say today that Bettitor is an editor who is better at using the editor, because in the English language, you can be an editor and you can use an editor. So we're about to be Bettitor. So by the end of this stream, you will be. So great clarifying question. Okay, so let's take a look at this editor. And I'll be honest, I remember the days when the Microsoft Office suite went from a file, like a menu structure along the top of their editor, to this thing called the ribbon. If anybody remembers that, throw that in the chat, because that kind of blew up the world. It was kind of like, oh my God, I cannot believe they would do this, because the editing experience has been the same for so long. And it really just kind of rocked everyone's world. Now, if you are moving, or if you've upgraded or are upgrading from Confluence Data Center to Confluence Cloud, it's not as jarring, but there are differences for sure. There are lots more things you can do, or things you do in a different way. In fact, there's also some ways things have changed for the better. But it is change. And if you don't like change, well, it's time for an attitude adjustment. No, let's take a look at those things. Chad, you haven't gotten too deep into the new editor? Now's your chance. We have an hour. Harrison would like to see Clippy come back to Office 365. I would like to see Rovo brought to the editor as a Clippy, but it needs to be some other like Office object, obviously like a tape dispenser or something like that. All right, so let's jump into it. So here I am at home. I'm going to play around as Yusuf today, who I heard from my coworker Aziza that she was working on a new page in Confluence. I'm going to jump over to Confluence, and she created a new live doc. We're working on this kind of company intro page, and she just kind of did a brain dump in here. I can see like I've got a bunch of comments from Aziza on this page. So let's take a look at this. So here I am on a page, and over here I can see my content tree, but I just want to minimize this for now because let's just focus on what we are here to do. So first of all, I can see up here the name of the thing I'm working on. Here's the live doc that I'm working on, and I can see where in the space it lives. This is in my personal space, so you can see that here, but along here, I would see the entire like location in the Confluence space of where this page or this live doc lives. So that's what is there. Over here, I can see that I'm editing, and then I can see that Aziza was editing, but Aziza is inactive. So Aziza's walked away from the computer. Hopefully Aziza's like taking a walk because just like looking at this thing, looks like she just did just a brain dump here. So hopefully Aziza is taking a walk. Yeah, so Sarah mentioned in the chat that they have upgraded to cloud and they're having to do a lot of fixing on formatting from the transition. Yeah, some formatting options from data center don't exist in the cloud anymore for good reasons, but that shift can be a bit jarring for sure. All right, so the first thing that I would show you isn't here. And it's for me anyway, the way I work, it's the most important thing, which is the undo button and the redo button. And they don't exist here in the editor because it's kind of a universal action. It's a keyboard shortcut that many people know and love, but in case you don't know them, the first thing I'll show you is right down here, this question mark. If I hit this and I go to editing keyboard shortcuts, these are all the keyboard shortcuts that you can use in the editor. And if you're like, what is a markdown? Not a dance move. Not a dance move. These are things that you can do to actually edit your text. So things you can type in. So you could type like asterisk. Why is that so hard to say? 2 of those, and then your text, and then 2 more, and it will make the text bold. I'm looking over here at the keyboard shortcuts for things that I can do. So what I'm looking for is undo and redo. So here I can see on my Mac, I can hit Command-Z. I think on Windows, it's Control-Z. And redo is Command-Y. You can even buy t-shirts with those shortcuts on if needed. So those are really important. 2 others that are not mentioned here, but you should know are copy and paste, which is Command-C and Command-V. Or Control. So I now know how to undo things. So Command-Z is our undo button, which is great because if I'm like boot da ba oh, I just hit Command-Z, all good. All right, so that's good to know. Another thing that's really good to know, if you've made a bunch of changes and then you're like, whoops, you can always go up to this More Actions menu, and we'll look at some other things here. But one thing you can always look at is this version history. And right here, you can look at this live doc does not have any old versions, but you'll see over time, versions are created. And so you can always look at old versions, see what things used to look like, see what things look like now, and that way you can see, what you might want to change back. So these are our safety cushions as we jump in. You cannot break this, okay? We're not living in those days anymore. You can't break this. So the days of editing in your Word doc and then pasting it into Confluence, they're over, all right? Throw it away. Tell your admin, I don't need Word anymore. You can save money on that license. I'm passionate about this. We can use Confluence. In fact, another really cool part of that safety cushion is you'll see there's no save button. There's no save button here. I'm looking at a live doc. There could be, if I was using a Confluence page, which is a more publishing controlled way of writing things, there would be a publish button. But no matter what, as you're typing along, Confluence will just automatically save that content. So you don't have to be like, Control S or save. It's all good. It is saved. So you can focus on creating and not avoiding a big problem. Sure, Rodney, we could make it a dance move. The markdown. Suggestions for how the markdown should look in the comments, please. Yes, Sarah, version history is the best. It's so great. Sarah's working on moving all their policies and processes into Confluence. Sarah, that is the place for them to be. A great way to do that, if you're roughly creating them, is in a live doc like we're using right now. And then once they're like nailed down, you can convert those into a page where people can't quickly just jump in and edit them. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay, back to editing. Now that we know we are very safe to be working here. Aziz has been working in here. It's our turn to work in here. So first things first, here's our toolbar right up top. And hopefully this feels kind of familiar. So one of the first things I noticed is right here. Aziza was like, hey, some of this text is very, very boring. So I'm going to select this text and I'm going to make it bigger. I'm going to give it an H1. Right here is just where I can add some really basic text formatting. I can also convert it back to normal text. And you can see anywhere on this menu, it also shows us the keyboard shortcut, or the keyboard command, keyword shortcut, whatever you call it. I could also change this to quote text. So these are really great for just like really quickly, I just want to format this. So here we go. We got an H1 here. This is nice. This is really called out. This one here, I just like to like bold this. So I'm going to go here and do bold. I could also do Command B. So there we go. We've got some folks online who are pleased with the way font is used in Atlassian Cloud. I am also pleased. It looks pretty great. There's a lot of focus on accessibility. Now we can also do some really fun and very useful stuff that we do with text all the time. We can go into this formatting menu. We could underline the text, italicize it, strike through, all of the stuff that you would want to do with text. So I'm just gonna make that italic because it looks nice. So let's talk about some ways we could change the colors here. So very quickly, I could come and change the color of the text. Boom, there we go. Change the color of text. I don't like that, so I'm gonna hit Control Z. Maybe I really want to accentuate these things. I'm going to highlight it. Oh, look at that shade of purple. Gorgeous, really gorgeous. One thing to keep in mind here is if I'm colorblind, the impact of the highlight might not be so effective. So make sure your communication of whatever concept you're talking about here doesn't rely on people seeing this color. Okay, because they might not, or it might appear differently. So make sure you don't say the text highlighted in red indicates blah, 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 because they might not see red or not in the same way as you. So just keep that in mind when you're using highlighting and any colors. Another really cool thing that we can do is play around with alignment. So I could highlight this and I could center align it. Now, one thing to know is maybe you're like, but this whole page, based on what it is, I actually want it center aligned. We can do that as well. And that's what this area is that keeps appearing. These are sort of other options that you might not need, but you might want to check out. So I'm actually going to show you this one. Here, I can set the alignment for the entire live doc. So now I've switched this to be center aligned. Ooh, so center aligned. These I've already configured as left aligned. That's why they're appearing this way. But you can see the live doc is intended to be center aligned. I want this actually left justified, so I'm going to keep it that way. But you can change the alignment of the whole page or individual text. We'll look at some of these other items in a minute. Okay, these are for adding things to the page. I want to call your attention to this little icon here, which allows us to unpin the toolbar. And that's what I want to show you right now, because pinning the toolbar is a great way to keep the toolbar exactly where you want them. So really quick, before we unpin this, we had a question, which is, are live docs the same as the editor? And that is such a good question. I have not been describing this really well. So I'm going to just open my content tree here just to illustrate this better. So when I go to create something new in Confluence, I hit this plus button or hit the big blue create button. There are different content types in Confluence. So a live doc is a doc where you can do just what I'm doing. Just go in, just start editing things, changing things. With a page, that's what I was saying is really great for things like processes or documentation. A page is just static. When you go to it in the content tree, you're just viewing content. You actually have to hit an edit button to be able to make changes, and then a publish button to kind of like set those pages so people can see, or those changes so people can see them. That's great for content that you don't want to quickly collaborate on, stuff that should sort of be like set. Okay. We've got whiteboards, which are great for ideation and collaboration in that way. There are databases, which are, we've done whole live streams on databases. And then smart links, which is a way to bring in content from whole other tools that you use. So for example, if you have an accounting spreadsheet that you use all the time, you could add a link to that and it would live right in the page tree, and people would be able to just interact with that spreadsheet right in Confluence. So a live doc and a page are content types. When you are editing either of those, that is the editor. So thank you for the very good question. That is an excellent one. Also, there is no save button in the editor. It is always saving, and you can see up here the status, the last thing it did. So you can see I edited it, edited 1 minute ago, and then the version history captures all of the changes that happen over time. It kind of timestamps, creates new versions. So you can see that. 27 minutes ago, there was a version created, and now 3 minutes ago, a new one was created. We could even come in here and compare the two versions, or we can use AI to summarize what has changed between the two. When you're using those pages, like I mentioned, it's still saving all the changes that you make as you're making them. But it's not until you hit the publish button that all the other people can see those changes. So a little bit of a different vibe as to when people see the changes that you've made. All right, back to unpinning. I think we put a pin in unpinning, and let's unpin that pin so we can unpin this toolbar. So I am going to unpin the toolbar, and oh my God, we've lost it forever and it's gone and I miss it immediately. It's okay, don't panic. We're gonna find that toolbar in a minute, all right? Hold on to that thought. The toolbar is still with us. I want to show you some of these other sort of hidden features here. And the first is the emoji. Check this out. You see this little thing right here? Each page has an emoji given to it. Each page or each live doc. And I can click that and change it. So this is about the company. So I'm gonna look for, like, is there a building emoji I could use? Okay, let's do that. So we could just pick this office building, and now this live doc has an icon, which also is going to show up here in the content tree, which is lovely. Another thing we can do is set a status here. This is hidden by default because not all teams are using statuses. In my case, I want to mark this as a rough draft because it is a rough draft. Uh-oh, where did that go? Don't worry, we'll take a look at that in a minute. I can also set the header image here. So I want, well, actually, this is kind of awesome. I kind of want to use that. I could search for another image on Unsplash, but I'm just going to pick this one because it is Pride Month, and that is just very cool. Apply that. That looks great. You can also add your own images. That is lovely. Finally, we can use AI based on the content that's in the page to suggest a title. In this case, we already have a title, but I'd love to know, what you got for us? exploring good software, purpose, values, and company journey. Okay, that's actually way better. We're going to do that. Thank you. So those things are hidden, but they're very useful. Oh, and I forgot about these nice little arrows. Check this out. So most pages are fairly narrow. You can see this. This is because based on copious amounts of research into UI design, that's about how wide the content should be for humans to read it. That's why paper is roughly the width that it is, because we like it. Humans like it, okay? But maybe you have a bunch of like tabular content. Like you're gonna have a big old table on here, which you probably should use a Confluence database for instead. Check out our live stream. But say we did have that. I can hit this to make the content, whoa, so wide, like filling up my gigantic screen. But this is not good for reading, okay? If you have text content, don't do it. I know you bought the big monitor, don't, because science tells us it's a bad idea. So this is for text, this is for big tables. This is not a big table, we're keeping it here. Remember I said that, mark my words. Be smart, people. All right, we have a couple more questions. Does the editor or the live doc not come with Confluence Cloud? Don't see the live doc option on my Confluence Cloud page when I click create. Such a good question. So live docs are quite new and they are still in beta, I believe. So that means your administrator still needs to turn them on. So that's why you're not seeing live docs as a content type yet. You can still use this same editor when you're working with pages, but live docs just haven't been turned on for you yet. That's why you're not seeing them. And the use case for the live doc thing is exactly what I'm doing. Just having a place where you can come in and collaborate without having to hit an edit button or a publish button. It's great for like writing something up with one or more people where you don't need to set the content in stone. You're just working on stuff really quickly. My team uses a lot for when we're working on like writing content, like we're writing this huge multi-page guide right now. And like we don't need to have that frozen in time. We need to be able to jump in and get collaborating. Pages are for when you want to be like, okay, yep, we are done with it. Now it's sort of frozen and set in view mode, unless people want to go make changes. So those are the two kind of big differences there. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing, back to the editor, one thing I'm noticing here is it just doesn't look great. Like I'm gonna make this an H1, but I can't, right? Because I just got rid of my header. Well, we didn't. We just unpinned it. If I select this text, here is my toolbar right here. When it's unpinned, the toolbar drops to where you're working. So if I select text here, or here, or here, it comes with me. And I really like this, especially with big screens, because it's showing up just where I need it. So now, like right here, I can just hit this and I can pick heading 1, which is great. By the way, if you ever want to pin it again, you can just hit that little icon and it'll back to the top. So, and when I click away, it is gone. Now you might be like, okay, but it's still gone. Don't worry, there's other things we can do. Let me show you. First of all, like I said, this is kind of looking janky. And even I think Aziza pointed this out, like, I don't really love this visual structure. It's just kind of like, it's a wall of text. So let's make some formatting changes here that might help us. So first of all, I'm going to grab this handle. See this? This is a way to select an element on the page. You'll see all of these things have that. That's called the grab handle. It's kind of like when you grab somebody's arm. Only do that with consent, or like if you're saving somebody from a bus, but that's a way to select an element. You can even move elements around like that, and I'll show you. So I've selected this element, and I'm just gonna hit the return key, so I have a space here. Now I want to add sections, visual sections here. So the way I can do this is hit this plus button right here. This opens the insert menu. There are a whole bunch of things that I can insert here. I could scroll through this list and see them. I can even hit view more and see all of the elements that I can add to this page. There are so many here. And I will show you some of those, but this is a great place to learn about all the elements. We have a couple of great videos about elements if you'd like to check those out. So I am going to look for a layout, not a section, a layout. And I want a 2-column layout. I'm going to insert that here. And now you can see these little doobly-doos here. You can see I have 2. And you can see it's suggesting / to insert. Now, what does / to insert mean? / to insert means if I hit the / button on my keyboard or / key, that opens that same insert menu we were just looking at. See that? So at any time, anywhere in the page, if I hit /, it's going to open that same insert menu. So you can always click the plus button to insert, or you can use the / key. And the / key can be just a little bit faster. So I've added some columns here. Let's put some text in it. So I'm going to grab these links. Those are looking fab, but we're going to drop them where we actually, want them to be. And then I'm going to grab the purpose statement. You know what? Let's grab this vision statement as well. Just going to grab all of this. Going to do my Control X and my Control V to copy and paste. If you don't know those commands, they will save your life. Okay, here we go. Now this is looking better. It's looking better, but I don't love it. I don't love it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is because I've selected these columns, you can see I've got another one of these floating toolbars. So here I could change the number of columns. I don't need to do that. And I can also make one side wider than the other. So I'm going to do one of these. Now check this out. This looks divine. I have my statements over here. I have my related links that Aziza added over here. This is looking splendid. And I'm noticing I've actually addressed some of the things Aziza mentioned. So I'm going to go to this comment that she left. And I can react here and be like, yeah, heard, love that. And then also, I could reply to her comment here, type something in. I could even mention somebody else. I could be like, looks good. Check it out. And if I hit that @ symbol, I can mention another colleague of mine. Check it out, Maggie. Yep, my typing is always good when other people are watching. Hit reply here. And now we can have a whole conversation in here. In fact, you can even hit this button here. And if your team has Loom, you can add a Loom video. So if, for example, you have a disability where typing is just not your vibe for one reason or another, or you want to show your screen, or just you think describing something verbally is just going to be better than what you've typed, add a Loom right here, and it will appear right in this thread. Now, in this case, I've addressed this, so I'm going to come over and resolve it. Hit that check, and now you can see the highlighting is gone. That comment is gone. Now you might be like, ugh, but there's still a bunch of comments here. I want to see all of them. You can see those over here. Here, this is called the floating action bar, and this is unfortunately, there is no action to allow you to float. So once again, confusing. That would be another good dance move, actually, the floating action bar. Float like a bumblebee, sting like an action bar kind of thing. So I'm going to click here to see all the comments. And now I can scroll through here to see all the comments, and I can click to navigate to each of them, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to close that and come down to here. So Aziza has commented that we should add some visual flair. Oh my gosh, we have a question. The toolbar doesn't freeze on the page when we pin it. So when we scroll the dock, it sticks on the top? That's an odd effect. You shouldn't see that. It should just stick here when it's pinned. And when it's unpinned, it should only appear when you summon it. Sort of, I don't know, Gandalf style with the eagles, which don't scream like that. Okay, that's a hawk. You should know. I was sad when I learned that. Okay, so here in this comment, Aziza has said this could use some visual flair, and to that I say, couldn't we all? So I'm going to select this text, and let's see. I mean, one thing we could do is, we could add an emoji here. So one way to add the emoji, so you see I've selected the text, is Where my emojis be at? Oh, I guess I have to type it. I can type a little colon? I think that's a colon. And now I can see all my emojis. So I'm gonna say this is a pretty important statement. That was a sad one. I'm gonna add like rock star face. So that's how we would add an emoji here. Or maybe let's make this a bigger deal. So I can select all of this, or actually, sorry, no, I can add a new line here, and I wanna add an element here that's gonna help me visually call this out. So I could hit the plus button, but I am going to hit the slash. So here's my slash, and I'm gonna start typing because there's a search box. I'm gonna say panel. So there's a bunch of different styles of panels that you can use. I'm gonna use the custom panel. And ooh, look at this one. It's kind of already styled for Pride Month. That's great. I'm gonna copy this text and put it into my panel. Boop. Now that looks a lot more visually attractive. I'm gonna move this to, oh, that's so nice. I could also do it without an emoji, but come on. Everybody knows that's the right way to do it. And I could also change this into any one of those other styles if I want, but I don't want. I want that. So again, I could, I'm gonna mark this as done. Visual flair added, mission complete. Kind of same thing here. So I'm gonna grab this one. No, I'm not. I'm going to hit the plus button. I'm gonna add a panel. And let's make this one green. And let's give this one, no, not monocle person. We're gonna give this a strong orthotic here because that is fantastic. Now, I've made a mistake. I could Control Z this, but I don't want to. This is a learning opportunity like so many things in our lives. You can see that I put this panel outside of my columns. And it is not fun to be an outsider, friends. I know maybe this panel isn't the only one who feels that way right now. But don't worry, because just like humans, this thing has a grab handle. I'm gonna grab this and I'm gonna drag it right up here and bada boom, it's in the panel exactly where I want it. Now this is looking great. We've done a lot of formatting, but you can also see how all of these controls are available to us in these floating toolbars, whether we're working with panels, whether we're working panels or layouts or text, all of our toolbars move with us, which is cool. Oh, and by the way, just like we saw Aziza adding comments, we could do the same thing right here. So I could hit comment and be like, is this text correct, Maggie? I think it is, but like, I don't know for sure. Oh, that was incorrect. Apologize, Maggie. I better edit that actually. I'm gonna hit edit here and I'm gonna say, is that correct? Do y'all remember when like there were major social media platforms that didn't let you edit text? I think they still exist. Wow, what a world we live in. Confluence has supported editing comments for a good long time. And there is no character limit either. And well, I could say more, but I ought not. Okay, so I'm gonna resolve some more of these comments. Great job, we did that. Oh, that's my comment, I'm not resolving that. Okay, what else do we have here, Aziza? Could we visually break this up? Okay, yeah. So we got a big white space, don't like that. Got these things happening here, no, not it. Okay, so what I wanna do here is just add like a really basic visual line. Wouldn't that be darling if we just had a little line? So what I'm gonna do, oh my goodness, I'm sorry, there's like an earthquake here with my mouse. What I'm going to do is I'm gonna insert a line. So I'm going to type line. Oh, I apologize. It's called a divider. And boom, we got a divider line. And just so you know, you could also just type dash, 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 and you've got a double line, kind of like a double rainbow, but we're just going with a single line. Double rainbows are beautiful though. Love that. All the way down. I'm gonna change this to a heading 1 because it's our values, y'all. Okay, so this has broken it up a bit, which is nice. But this is not nice. I think this would be a great time to crack out some layouts. So I'm going to hit the correct, well done everyone, the slash key, and I'm going to say I want layouts, and I'm looking for Oh, mercy. Let's try 4-column layouts. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna grab this text, gonna cut it and paste it. And I'm gonna grab this one. So these are our values. This is important. We want people to be able to read these clearly. So I'm grabbing all these, I'm pasting all these. Looking good, feeling good, doing great. Yeah, we're working on it, Aziza. Oh, we've got one more here. I'd better, let's see. I'm gonna, you know what? Let's be wild. I'm gonna add another layout, and I'm gonna go with a 2-column. And we're gonna add this one. By the way, I am not a designer. They don't like, no, oh, what? Whoa, I'm doing weird things. I'm also not a professional presenter, obviously. So I've added that. That looks a bit, how the kids say, janky. But I think it's looking okay. Because what I'd like to do is, I don't know. What could we add to spice this up? You know what? I'm not liking this, actually. I'm going to change it. So I'm going to grab this text. I'm going to move it over here. You can see how you can just kind of play around with stuff, and I'm just not breaking anything. This is all saved. I can Control Z anytime to fix this. So what I want to do is just turn this thing into a 3-column layout. Okay, bounce to the force. And then I actually want to make this a 3-column layout as well. That's really nice. It just kind of breaks them up. They're looking a little bit better, but I'll admit, like, readability wise, it's not great. But like, I want to change that, right? So I have these. I have these resizing handles, which you'll find on all of the elements that you can resize. In the chat, there is a question: can a live doc be from a template in Confluence? And yes, the answer is yes. If you open an empty live doc, you can pick a template to start from. I didn't even mention templates. We'll take a look at those. That is a fantastic question. So I can grab this resize handle and spread these out a little. I don't want to go full width, but I'm going to go with like, that feels right to me. And let's bring these out here. Okay, I mean, maybe I am a little bit of a designer because that looks incroyable. Okay, great. Let's get rid of some extra space here because I don't want it. Okay, good. All right, Aziza added a vertical line here. Let's add a heading 1 here. This is starting to really shape up. Like, looking great. We've used a lot of tools here. Excellent. But if we look at our comments, we still have a bunch here from Aziza. So like, let's take a look. Oh, we're not going to look at that one yet. We've addressed this one. Boop. What about this? What did she say about this? This doesn't look great. Can it clean it up, please? Okay, yeah, agreed. This does not look great. You know what would be great here? A table. And I'm going to hit the / key. And then I'm going to add a table. I'm going to click table here. And I want this to be, let's make it a 3x3 table. We can always change this. So here we go. We've got a table here. And just like anything else, I can just start typing in any of these cells. So I'm going to start copying and pasting. And by the way, there is truly no more riveting content, than watching people copy and paste text. Like it truly is so great. And you can see me accidentally deleting stuff. This is why we do this stuff live, people. It's so important to capture these embarrassing moments so that y'all can like put these online and remind me of them later. So I'm just copying and pasting text. Now's a good time to, I don't know, talk about the weather, maybe, which is the most uninteresting thing we could mention right now. Currently, it is broiling here, which is giving this fine glisten. But I hope if you are glistening, you are also listening. And if you are not glistening, you better be listening as well. That's a friendly request and not the way it sounded. I'm doing so well at copy and paste. Okay, we did it. I'm going to grab all this text. And by the way, you can delete stuff, which is super cool. All right, so we made this table, and this is looking good. You can see here, I can increase the width and change it just like I could be 4, so I can make it this full width thing, which is awesome. There's some other cool things I can do with tables. So I could add a header column. So if I had a table where it was kind of like the first column and the top row were very important, I could highlight that. I can also add a numbered column. If you're creating like a numbered list, that can be helpful. I can also say this looked like this, and that is driving you bonkers. You can distribute the width of the columns. Thank goodness. You can also, if it's smaller, you can align it differently in your text. And you can also do any of the same formatting within the cells. So you could like make this a different color if you want. I don't want that. Although this might be a nice place to change the text color. So we'll do some burgundy. And this is a great spot to do some nice dark text. I'm going to do green. And the inner Bob Ross is just leaking all over this live stream. I want to put a nice little tree in here, but we just don't have the time. Okay, what else did Aziza point out? Okay, yeah, these links kind of are no, that's not going to work. This is not useful in a lot of ways because, like, what is this thing that I'm looking at? What is an Atlassian? I don't know. No, it truly kind of makes sense. Right here, with any link you see in Confluence or you paste into Confluence can be turned into a smart link. So I can hit this button and I can display it in a few different ways. So I could say inline. And ooh, look at this. How smart. These now show the name of this page. It turns out these are Confluence pages that I'm linking to, but I would like a little more info. So I'm going to switch this to a card. And now with the card, you can see this is giving me some like useful information from this Confluence page. I didn't type this. It's just displaying here. And I can even hit this button to preview the page right here from my live doc. That's pretty groovy. But I could go even further, hold on to your ears because your mind might leak out just now. Because I could also hit embed and display the whole Confluence page inside of my live doc. It's a little wild. I actually don't want to do that. I want to display this, but you can do a lot with Smart Card or with with Smart Links. And I would like to do that here. This is a link to a Confluence whiteboard, and I could do this, right? See the name of the whiteboard. Or this is a case where I do want to show the embed. Right here, I will display the actual fully interactive Confluence whiteboard that it was linked here. So I can use this whiteboard, I can do all the things. This one is view only, so I can't click it, but I can move all around and check out this whiteboard. This just lives in the live doc. So people don't even need to leave this live doc to be able to interact with this. You can add smart links to all kinds of things on your pages. Not just Atlassian tools. If you want to have a page or a live doc full of YouTube videos, as an example, you could totally do that. Will the card be blank or completely gone if the viewer doesn't have access to the linked doc? Yeah, such a good question, Rodney. Yes, if at any point you drop in a link to something people don't have the permission for, it will show them, hey, this is restricted, you don't have access to this. And that applies to all your tools. So if you link to a Google Doc, for example, and they don't have permission to see that Google Doc, they will not see that Google Doc. So you can see very quickly, I've taken these just very limited links and made these really useful parts of the documents or the live doc, which is great because I can quickly see this page literally has Ipsum in it. That's why it looks so funky. But if this had real text in it, I could quickly check it out and take a look. And I'm just going to use this and reorder these. Yeah, that makes more sense. Cool. Thanks, Drag Handles. Now, just so you know, we are 45 minutes into this live stream, which means if you've got a snack, it's time to eat it. It also means that I'm going to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to our Confluence newsletter, you really should, because it's kind of awesome. We send it out every week. It is not spammy because we just don't do that here, okay? We're classy people. It is full of Confluence tips, tricks, and news. Please hit the link in the chat to continue to learn with us. As we are discovering stuff about Confluence, we are sharing it with you. So eat your snack. This is so crunchy. I don't know if you're catching that. Grab your snack, click the link, subscribe. Join us in the journey as we continue to explore these Confluence to share what you do best. I've never done this with so much food in my mouth. This is really thrilling. Okay. Financial health. You know what? You get an H1 and you get an H1. Uh-oh. No. Mm-mm. I want just this to be an H1. Sometimes I get a little select happy, you know? Okay. What did Vivian? We should make this more visual. Not Vivian. Sorry. Aziza, I totally agree. I'm going to resolve this before I even do it because I know exactly what I want to do here. First of all, what is this? Distributed. Much better. Actually, you know what? I just want to tweak that. No. This financial content is tabular and it is accurate, and that is great. But guess who likes to look at it like this? Very few people. If you like to look at it this way, that doesn't mean you're wrong. It means you probably are very talented with numbers. Good for you. Give yourself a pat on the back. Some of us are like, could I see this visualized? That would be very helpful to me. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to insert a chart. And this is a super cool thing you can do right in the editor. You can visualize content right here. You can see we have another floating toolbar. There are tons of chart options we can select here. I'm not going to because I don't have time. We have a really good video. It's my favorite video I've ever made on our channel, all about how to create really, really good charts in general, in any tool, but specifically how to create them in Confluence. And it includes details like why you would use certain colors for charts, because that's a really important thing. You can even grab this chart and like cut it and paste it somewhere else in the page if you don't want the numerical data to be right there with it. And when you change these numbers, the chart changes dynamically. Very cool. Okay, finally, what's the deal with this? These are only needed for some people, kind of busy. Okay, so these are only needed for some people, these details here. I get that. So what we're gonna do, thanks Aziza, is we're going to add another element here that's gonna help us kind of tuck these away. And it's called an expand. See, I did my / command and expand. I'm gonna grab these and I'm gonna put them in here. So now this becomes a little collapsible thing. But this is not useful. This is Disability Awareness Month. This is not okay. If I'm using a screen reader, not okay. I need to give it a title. It's telling me to do that. So I'm going to say more details on the company history. You're watching me type ... A ... can be very helpful. A ... can make for a good book or not a good book. So the little ellipses, add those, very helpful for user direction. And now I can just expand this if these matter. Really good pro tip, if you have something that shouldn't be hidden, don't hide it. Please don't do that. Finally, when people are looking at your live doc, they can add a comment at the bottom. This is the same for pages. You can have a full comment section at the bottom of the page. That's a great place for having discussions just in general about everything that's on the page or the live doc. People can also react to it, right? So maybe Aziz is gonna look at this page and be like, that is fire. I'm hoping, I'm really hoping. So couple other things because we have a couple more minutes. One is right here, the details panel. Remember when we added a status to this page and I was like, uh-oh, where did that go? It just went to the details panel. It's fine. The details panel has all the information about the live doc or the page that we are looking at. And some of these are really, really useful bits of information. So for example, we can see how many words there are, how long it would take to read. We can see how many people have viewed it and actually jump off to see analytics about this. This is a Confluence Premium feature, I believe. Here's that status that we added right here. It's a rough draft, and we can click to change it or delete it. You can also add labels. So this is a way of adding sort of like meta information to your pages and documents. So you could add a label like this is about communication, and this is about finance, because there's some finance information. Oh my goodness. Finance, et cetera, et cetera. You can add these tags here, and then there are ways to display all the pages and live docs with these. I don't have time to show you that, but I've already done it. If you check out our YouTube channel, like and subscribe, please. There are a couple of great videos all about using labels to see how to interact or interconnect your content. Okay, so we've added some labels. We checked out the things. We can even see how many outgoing links there are on a page and check those out. We can see attachments. Attachments. That reminds me, there is an attachment on this page. This picture. How did I miss this? Don't love the way this looks. So I have this picture here with our story, and it's got our founder in it, but not great for a few reasons. One of which, y'all, it's Disability Awareness Month. We've got no caption here, which means there's no alt text. I'm gonna add a caption right now. Picture of our founder at their desk. Nice. So we've got a nice caption here. That's great for accessibility. Also, I can do a couple of things here. I could use the preview to make it look bigger. I can play around with size options. So I could make this inline. So if you have like a little tiny, like an icon, this could be like right in line with your text, which is fun if you're documenting things where you're like, click the cog icon and then this and then this. There's a question on, can you embed videos in the editor? Yes, you can. Whether you're just adding the link to a YouTube video or you're dropping in a video media file, yes, you can do that. And this editor also supports SVG images if you work with such fanciful media types such as that. I could center align this, which is okay, but you know, our fearless leader is a little more humble. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to have the text wrap this. They are going to really appreciate this. I want it just like that. That is brilliant. And do I want to add a border here? Is that going to make me happy if I add a border? I've added it. I want it to be a nice big stroke. I want it darker. You know, I'm not unhappy with that. I'm not unhappy with that at all. This is looking okay. All right, I'm pretty proud of us right now. That's looking pretty great. All right, so we've even added formatting to the image, and it can be any type of image. Sarah, I don't think SVGs are called savage files, are they? Maybe they're called savage. No, I always call them, I say GIFs and SVGs. So, you know, hot take, I guess. Okay, we have a couple more minutes. So I wanted to show you, thank you, Vivian. I like the border as well. I think you and we got something going on. Great taste, great taste. A couple more things that I wanted to show you. So we've got a lot of headings on this page now. So I want to select this, hit that, no. Hit that, so I have a little space. And what did you say here? You don't love the structure. Oh yeah, that's old. We got you, Aziza. I'm going to hit that's right, /command, and I'm going to add a table of contents. This is another really helpful element, also known as a macro in this case, that is giving us a full-on table of contents. And this is super cool. I can do all sorts of visual changes in this handy menu over here. Don't love that. Do I want? No, I don't. I do not want. I want no bullets. And I want just heading level 1 to display. This is looking so good. Look at this. Do you see this? I must have a space at the beginning of other projects. I sure do. Hey, thanks, Element. You saved the day. So you can see this. I've made that changed. This table of contents updates live. This is looking really, really good. And we have explored all the different types of menus and things we can do here. Now, if you are using Confluence Premium, I want to show you something maybe cool you might want to do. So we have our vision and purpose statements here. What if we added a bit more visual flair? Thank you. Someone had a question. Can Rovo agents detect or reference links that are smart? Rovo works with all links on your page, including the smart ones. Rovo agents might not be able to interact with the visual elements, but they will detect it as a link. That's a great question. If someone's like, what is a Rovo agent? That is a live stream for another time. So what I want to add here is a, what is the name of it? No. I'm going to add notes, where are you? I wrote this down because I knew I would forget it live, and here I am. Look at me, I'm forgetting it live. I'm gonna add a spotlight. Ooh, so here is a spotlight. This is just a way to visually highlight content, and I'm kind of into it. So once again, I can do a couple of changes in the floating toolbar, but right here, I wanna change the background color to, let's see, yeah, that is kind of lovely. I kind of like that. I could change the text color, which is great. And it's Disability Awareness Month. This is going to check to make sure that we're not, using a color that we shouldn't, like, that's not readable. So we want to go with a darker tone here. Thank you for checking. Thank you for helping me with that. We can also change up the layout a little bit. So I'm really liking this. Ooh, this is beautiful. And then for the content, I'm going to say this is about our vision, and I'm just going to grab the text here because I want to, and I'm creative. No, seriously, I could put it all here, but I just want that. Oof, y'all, this is one of the prettiest things I've ever made. And then for the vision, a world where everyone shares their information, knowledge, and skills to enable others to contribute positively. I do like that. Let's see if I search for knowledge. Oh my gosh, that's a pretty cool library. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so we have shared our vision in just like a really nice way. This is a cool element that you only have if you have Confluence Premium. There's another cool one that we could use here that I don't have time to show you called the carousel. There's also cards, super cool, but a carousel could be a really cool way to show our values because we have 5 values here. So I can go into, going to select this. I could come in here, go to content, and you can see I have these little frames. So I could add 2 more frames, and then I could add each of our values right here, and people could move through them. There have also been some new changes to the carousel that were just added that will let this auto scroll. That should be coming out soon. Sarah likes the carousel. Like real carousel or this element carousel, I'd love to, we'd love to know, Sarah. That would be cool. I like the carousel as well, but not as much as this highlight. This is so cool. And then finally, cards. I could do a whole other live stream about cards because they are so cool. With cards, you can display content like this. You can have a list of it. You can display it dynamically. You can even only show certain cards to people depending on the type of user they are in Confluence. It's so cool. Maybe I'll do more of that in the future, but it's premium. It's not for everybody. So maybe let us know in the comments if you'd like to see more about these new visual highlighting elements because, oh, they're so pretty. It's so nice. Okay, y'all, I don't have any more time. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely summer day, learning all about using the Confluence editor in the very best way possible. At K15T, we are absolutely fascinated and captivated with the way you work and the things that you do best. And so we are here to show you how to use Confluence in the very best way possible. Please do subscribe to YouTube so that you can see all the new video content we're creating. Join us every month for a live stream. I don't remember what we're talking about next month, but we are talking about something, I promise. You can also get the recording for this right here at this same link so you can share it with your friends, loved ones, and pets. And also check out the newsletter, subscribe to that, so you can join us as we continue to explore how to use Confluence to share what you do best. Bye, everybody.